That's right. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's your man's Ken Jackson coming back to you this morning with some random thoughts. Just figured I check out my live stream. Did something yesterday and didn't work out quite as I expected. Audio wasn't synced up with the video, and I was just having a hard time trying to get it to work. So, figured I'd just come on live this morning, try it out, see what we get. You know what I'm saying? And here we go. How's everybody? Hope everybody is feeling good this morning. I actually have a day with no appointments, no doctor's appointments or anything like that. Gonna try to get a few things done though on the personal side, and see what I can get done. Definitely need to get caught up on a bunch of stuff. So that's that. Yo, check it out. I don't know if y'all keep up with the music industry. I don't anymore like I probably should, but just happened to hear that yesterday, Boosie Badass got arrested on a gun charge. Or no, hold on, let me take that back. Not sure what the charges were. He had a gun charge dismissed out in San Diego yesterday. As soon as he walked out of the courtroom, the feds got him. We don't know what for yet, but I'm sure we'll find out soon. Was he set up? Who knows? But anyhow, that's that. Doesn't even matter to me. It's irrelevant. So hopefully, we're going to reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And yeah, it doesn't sound like a lot, I know. In the whole grand scheme of things, it's really not a lot. But that's my goal. Since I decided to go all in on this podcast and get this show on the road, I've been procrastinating now with this for a long time. Was off to a real good start. When I first ever did this, people laughed at me and was like, yo, Ken, man, what the hell is Crazy Baby TV? And all I could say to him back then was, it's a television show, but just on the internet. No terrestrial broadcasting antennas or transmitters or none of that shit. I envision this not, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm the one that first did it or started it, because I got the idea. Man, it's been, I want to say 10 years almost. 10 years ago, I was actually working, doing some production work for a friend of mine who was pretty big in radio back then. Her name is Dawn Reese. She's over in the Tampa area now, but she was doing an online talent show. What was the name of that show? I forgot the name of it. Dawn Reese Talent, something. Anyway, but it was broadcast out of this little internet radio station down in Lake Worth, Florida, called Galaxy TV. And it was real primitive back then. Basically, they were just running a camcorder as their studio camera, and just feeding it into back then what would be considered now a calculator, in terms of computer power. But anyway, they were doing the damn thing, and they were streaming, on their website. And, Dawn was doing her regular show every week. And I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. I said, imagine that. No FCC regulations, none of that. This internet thing was still very brand new in terms of advances, because it wasn't very advanced back then. Bandwidth was bullshit compared to now. But she did this show every week, and we would show up to the studio. She would interview talent live on the show. And I was like, wow, that's cool as hell. I can do that. So I put together the idea of Crazy Baby TV after working on the Dawn Reese show for a little while. And at the time, I was managing this young artist from Boca Raton by the name of Michaela Page. And what we would do is I would set up interviews with business owners, celebrities, singers, rappers, whatever, and we would just go around and interview these people, and then we would rebroadcast it, on my website. And my website back then is nothing like what it is now. If you haven't visited crazybabytv.com, go check it out. I think it's a dope ass site, and I'm not biased. Or maybe I am biased because it's mine, but I happen to think Crazy Baby TV is pretty dope. But anyway, we had a show called Live from the Garage, which we attempted to broadcast from the garage at Michaela's family home. And the concept was dope as hell. I was thinking, let's, make it a block party if we could, get, some Michaela's bandmates to come out and play live, and we'll just stream it, and have people sit down on the couch in the garage and let Michaela interview them there. And it was dope as hell. It was off to a good start. But again, back then the technology isn't nearly what it is now. And so it was hard. It was hard to get it right. But, we had a couple of good shows back then. And but I always kept that concept in the back of my mind that I'm going to do this internet TV thing. Fast forward to the pandemic, everybody gets locked down, and stuck in their homes. And what happens? An explosion of podcasts and online shows. And it was crazy because I told people this was going to happen years before it happened. I told people that the future of television was going to be on the internet, and they didn't believe me. And like I said, they thought I was crazy. Now, look at it now. Everybody and their mama got a show online. And this is where we're at now. I remember back then, 1996 is when I opened my first recording studio here in Fort Pierce. And initially I started recording. I had, your typical multi-track tape recorders, that we had in the studios. And then this little software program called Cakewalk came out. And I installed Cakewalk, and then it was crazy because back then there was no 24-bit, 128-bit or none of this high resolution, gear like what we have now. It was just a 16-bit sound card plugged into my little. What kind of computer did I have then? It was a raggedy ass little IBM, something. It wasn't that powerful. I could only record about 30 minutes of music in total because hard drives, we didn't have SSD drives or nothing like that back then. But I started recording into my computer using Cakewalk, digital recording. And, a lot of people thought then, like, Ken, what are you doing? You need to record on tape, like everybody else. I'm like, I don't know. It's pretty cool that I can record, multi-track into this computer and I can see everything and I can edit it, I had this other program that was called Session Tools, which was a MIDI editor. And those of you in music production, you'll understand what MIDI is. It's a control protocol that allows you to plug, different components into your computer, and you can control all of those components from the computer console. And a lot of music, computer-based music back then was, built on the MIDI protocol. So Session Tools eventually grew into Pro Tools, which became the industry standard digital audio workstation for computer-based recording. And I used Pro Tools in its early days before it became what it is now, a subscription-based program, which I hate. Currently, my DAW of choice is Studio One Professional. I happen to feel like it's probably the best program on the market for digital recording and engineering and things of that nature. But that's just my opinion. As I was saying, back then I was doing digital recording before it was a thing, and let me tell you something, man. Y'all got to pay attention to the technology, because the same thing is happening now. You walk into the grocery store and what do you have? You have self-checkout lanes, no cashiers. You got to scan everything and bag everything yourself. A lot of these retailers basically don't want to hire workers, But here's the funny thing. Labor costs are going down because of technology, but prices are going up. You would think that because they don't have to pay so many people, they could keep prices low on the products. No. These companies are greedy. They're not going to lower their prices for anything. In fact, they raise their prices, sometimes triple what they were before. Do you remember back in the day when you would pull into a gas station and the gas station attendant would greet you and you tell him what fuel grade you wanted and he'd fill your gas tank up, he'd clean your windows and check your oil and all that stuff? Now, gas prices are through the roof and you gotta do all the services yourself. What are we paying for? Services is non-existent anymore. It's just crazy. In Connecticut, I was in Connecticut a couple years ago, and Connecticut has this policy where if you go grocery shopping, if you want your stuff bagged, you got to pay for the bags. You got to pay for the bags or bring your own damn bags. Think about that shit. This is where our society is headed. Capitalism in concept was probably a good idea, but greed and the hunger for power and control has taken over. Service is thrown out the window, and basically, they're robbing us. They're robbing us at every opportunity that they get, robbing us blind. We're paying more and more and more just for basic living and getting so much less than what we used to. How do we solve this problem? Y'all got to get involved, man. Y'all got to get out there and get involved in the process. I know a lot of you are disillusioned about the political process, and you think politics and your vote and your actions don't matter, but it really does. If your vote didn't matter, they wouldn't be fighting so hard to get your vote. Think about that. Think about that. And it's crazy because the psychology works in reverse. It's like they tell you that the voting system is flawed, and you can't trust it. And you know what? They're kind of right. It is flawed because it's not working the way that they need it to work. Y'all got to get involved, man. These next election cycles coming around, man, y'all got to get out there and vote, and not just vote, from the top down. You got to vote from the bottom up. Politics works from the bottom up. You got to get involved in these local races, for like district seats, county seats, city seats, state representatives. You got to get involved because these people at the bottom are the ones who eventually become national players. And if we don't get them early in their careers and we the people start grooming them and showing them that they work for us and not the other way around, things will start to change. Now, it's taken us, almost 300 years to get to this point where we're at now. So don't think change is going to happen overnight. I'm not going to see any changes in my lifetime. But you kids coming up now behind me, this next generation, y'all could actually make things happen if you get involved. Don't sit on the sidelines thinking that your vote doesn't matter, because it really does. And we got to get rid of these career politicians. It makes no damn sense that somebody can, be in the Senate or the House of Representatives for, 20, 30, 40 years. It makes no damn sense. Got to have some term limits. We actually have term limits on senators, I think, is 6 years. We know the president, a president can only serve a total of 8 years. I'm not sure what the House side is. I don't think congressmen have limits. But think about this. Even in the Senate, I don't even think term limits are even recognized. Mitch McConnell's been in the Senate forever. Forever. How's he managed to stay in the Senate if senators only have a 6-year limit? I don't know. Maybe I'm misunderstanding the system. I don't know. I need to. You know what? I'm gonna check that out. But anyhow, we got to get involved. We got to make some changes, especially too on the Supreme Court. How is it that a non-elected position can be a lifetime position? Think about that. How is it that the president gets to appoint somebody to a lifetime job, and we can't get them out of there once they're in there. There's no process for removing a Supreme Court justice. Sure, they can be impeached, but realistically, who's gonna bring in impeachment proceedings against a Supreme Court justice? Think about it. And even all this stuff going on with Trump right now, talking about, we shouldn't be prosecuting him because it's so close to election time, and we're disrupting the election process. No, we're not. The law is the law. I don't give a damn if you're running for office. If you broke the law, your ass needs to be prosecuted. Running for office should not be a protection from prosecution. No matter who you are, no matter what office that you're running for. Running for office does not need to be and shouldn't be a protection from prosecution. If you're a criminal, you need to be prosecuted just as anybody else would be. You know what I'm saying? Think about that. Think about the fact that the Department of Justice actually put out a memo saying that they won't prosecute a sitting president. Why is it that a sitting president won't be prosecuted? If a sitting president breaks the laws above anyone else, a sitting president needs to be prosecuted. They're the very representation of the laws that our country are supposedly built on. So how is it that because they're holding a particular office that they get to bypass the law? Does that make any damn sense to any of you? It's just like cops. Cops have qualified immunity. What the hell does that even mean? A cop should be held to the highest standard in regards to the law. They're the ones hired to enforce the very law that they're immune to. So we got a lot of things wrong with our system, a whole lot of things wrong with our system, and but it's not going to be fixed until you get involved. I try to be involved as much as I can. I'm not a politician. I'm not trying to be a politician. Maybe I should go into politics. I don't know. But I'm at least doing my part by trying to bring some information to y'all, maybe a little bit more of awareness, wokeness. You know what I'm saying? That's all woke means, is be aware. Thank you, Erykah Badu, for coining that phrase some years ago. And now the Republican Party is running away with it as if it's some sort of movement. No, woke means aware. Woke means pay attention. That's all it means. It's no anti-government or anti-America movement. But see, they want you to think that because they don't want you to pay attention. Because if you're not paying attention, they can get away with a whole lot more bullshit. That's my random thoughts for this morning. I'm your man, Ken Jackson. I will catch y'all again probably later today. I don't know. Like I said, this show is all about random thoughts. Right here, Crazy Baby TV. Peace. Oh, don't forget, subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Help me reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And along the way, I'm going to be giving away some free gifts and all types of shit. So join me. You know what? Peace. I'm out.